Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens Part 138 based on novel. So let's start. The sharp voice spread within the enormous main hall, causing the expressions of quite a number of experts to change slightly. They could sense the unusually powerful strength of the owner of this voice. While everyone was surprised, a rushing wind sound suddenly appeared within the large hall. Immediately, the black fog surged over from outside the hall in all directions. Finally, it gathered in the middle of the large hall. The black fog scattered and a couple of figures appeared. That unique appearance method immediately caused quite a number of people to recognize them. They are actually members of the Hall of Soul? The hearts of quite a number of people pounded upon seeing the status of those who had arrived. They frowned slightly. Everyone on the continent were aware of the strength of the Hall of Soul. If they wanted to snatch the Tien Class Do skill, it would undoubtedly cause the originally chaotic situation to become even more complicated. Xiao Yan's eyes stared at the mid-air. The cold smile on his face became increasingly dense. A grey-white cloaked old man with a dark and cold smile on his shriveled face stood in the air in front of the couple of figures. That appearance was surprisingly that of old Ghost Shaixing, who had fought with Xiao Yan until both of them were seriously injured. Are his injuries completely healed? Xiao Yan glanced at old Ghost Shaixing immediately, his eyes paused on the right hand of the latter. However, he could only see an empty sleeve. His brows twitched. It seemed that even though this old demon had managed to keep his life under the Annihilation Fire Lotus, he had also paid quite a great price. This old Ghost Shaixing has currently become a single-arm old ghost. Little fairy doctor laughed. There was some gloating feeling within her laughter. Old Ghost Shaixing overlooked the entire place from the mid-air. He laughed in a strange manner. TSK, how lively. It is unexpected that this remains had actually attracted so many people. If we were to wait here and capture souls, we will likely manage to gain quite a lot. Quite a number of people revealed some dislike within their eyes because of this sentence of this old ghost. The Hall of Soul capturing souls from all over the place was no longer some rare thing on the Central Plains. This act was naturally despised by quite a number of people. However, due to the frightening strength of the Hall of Soul, no one dared to oppose them. Why is one of this old ghost's arm gone? The large hall did not lack some experts who had seen old Ghost Shaixing before. The eyes of these people revealed some uncertainty after seeing an empty sleeve of the latter. Quite a number of experts present were clearly aware of old Ghost Shaixing's strength. 5-star Dozun. He could be considered a peak expert even in the entire continent. There are very few people who could cause him to lose an arm. Old Ghost Shaixing in the mid-air had also sensed the direction these gazes were looking towards. The dark and cold smile on his face was immediately withdrawn. The corner of his mouth twitched and he was just about to let out a dark cold cry when his sweeping eyes suddenly stilled. Immediately, a roar that was filled with murderous intent instantly resounded over the entire hall. Xiao Yan? You are actually still alive. This little fellow, why would he possess such strength? Feng Qing'er and the rest were also a little stunned. That black-robed old man by the side had a somewhat volatile expression. His eyes contained an additional fear when he looked at Xiao Yan. He clearly understood the strength of this old Ghost Shaixing. This person was one level higher than him. Since Xiao Yan had the ability to break one of old Ghost Shaixing's hand, Xiao Yan would definitely possess the ability to turn him into a miserable state. I have underestimated this brat. However, since this old Ghost Shaixing and Xiao Yan had a grudge, the heavens are really helping us. A cold smile flashed across the eyes of the black-robed old man as he softly muttered to himself. Tangzhen, who was beside Xiao Yan, also used a pair of stunned eyes to look at the latter. His heart was quite shaken. This young man was really not as simple as he appeared on the surface. After his furious cry sounded, old Ghost Shaixing's body shook and transformed into a black smoke, which rushed towards Xiao Yan without caring about the many strange gazes within the large hall. Vast and mighty Do Chi pressure caused a rumbling sound to appear around Xiao Yan's group, forming a large empty circular space in the process. Old Ghost Shaixing, do you not want your other arm? Xiao Yan clenched his hand when he saw that old Ghost Shaixing pouncing over furiously. 3 clusters of heavenly flames immediately appeared in front of him as he coldly cried out. The temperature within the large hall suddenly rose when the heavenly flames appeared. That body of old Ghost Shaixing, which was rushing forward, had also stilled in the mid-air with a kai sound. He had gradually recovered some of his reasoning under the high temperature. He had already tasted the might of that fire lotus once. Hence, his heart had instinctively felt a rich fear when he saw Xiao Yan summoning the heavenly flames. Moreover, he had a mission that the Hall Chief had personally gave him to fulfill in this trip of his to the remains. If anything went wrong, he would definitely be severely punished this time around. There are many experts around this brat. Some effort will be needed to finish him off. If I become too exhausted at that time, it is likely that I will not be able to compete with the others. There are quite a number of experts here who even I have to deal with using all my strength. Old Ghost Zhaixing's eyes flickered. A moment later, he could only swallow the explosive fury and killing intent that had rose within his heart. His eyes stared ruthlessly at Xiao Yan as he spoke in a dense manner. The old me will come and properly finish you off once the matter of the remains is over. There is no need to be worried. If I can seriously injure this old ghost once, I will naturally be able to do it a second time. Moreover, the situation here is complicated. When the Hall of Soul fights with the other experts in a while, the experts from the Hall of Soul will definitely suffer some losses and injuries. That old ghost might even be entangled until he cannot free himself. Little Fairy Doctor laughed slightly and said, "Do you have a grudge with those fellows?" Qing Lin softly asked Xi Yang. "Yes, that is a great enemy of ours. They will also be your enemy in the future. Do not hold back when you fight later on. Everyone you kill is one less of them. It can make up for your mistake earlier." Ziyina patted Qing Lin's shoulders. She regarded herself as joining the group earlier than Qing Lin. Therefore, her words also appeared to be that of an older person. This caused Xiao Yang and the others to involuntarily smile at the side. Qing Lin was also a little awkward. However, she nodded seriously and said, "Be rest assured. Since they are enemies of young Master Xiao Yan, I will definitely not show any mercy." "Yes, you appear to be aware of the situation." Ziyang nodded her small head in satisfaction. Xiao Yang helplessly glanced at these two girls. His gaze swept over the interior of the large hall before finally pausing on those stone statue puppets around. He softly said, "Do not hurry to do anything when the seal is undone. These things are all hot potato. They would be trouble if they obtain them first." Little Fairy Doctor's group nodded slightly. All of them understood that whoever obtained those treasures will immediately become everyone enemies. There were many experts within the large hall. If everyone delivered a palm, it was likely that even old Ghost Zhaixing would immediately vomit blood and be defeated. This Xiao Yang not only possessed quite a strong training talent, but he also possessed a shocking achievement in terms of alchemy skills. Most importantly, he might be young, but he does not possess the haughtiness of the young. His future achievement will definitely be extraordinary. The Burning Flame Valley befriending him should be a correct choice. Tang Shen nodded his head when he saw that Xiao Yang was not impulsive despite being under the lure of the treasures. The weight of Xiao Yang in his heart was raised significantly. Xiao Yang was naturally unaware that his performance would increase his significance within Tang Shen's heart. At this moment, his eyes were focused intently on those light clusters suspended in the midair of the large hall. The light around those light clusters were becoming increasingly weak at this moment. The seal is about to disappear? Xiao Yang's expression was grave as he suddenly spoke softly. After this voice of his sounded, those 10 clusters of light suddenly trembled intensely. Immediately, a glaring intense light was erupted. Under this intense light, the scrolls within it turned into numerous rays of light that rushed out from within the light clusters. The entire hall instantly boiled when these scrolls rushed out. At the same time, the stone statue puppets around the stone table had also suddenly opened their eyes, which had been tightly shut for countless number of years. A rich killing intent spread apart at this instant. It was as if a large bomb had been thrown into the originally quiet and tense large hall at this moment. Within an instant, it had caused the interior of the main hall to boil like a pot of oil. The light cluster disappeared. 10 different colored rays of light surged out from within. Through the light, it was possible for one to vaguely see the scroll objects within it. An ancient aura spread out from within these scrolls. This caused the eyes of quite a number of experts to become bloody red at this moment. Their breathing had also suddenly become heavier. A Gen Class Do skill is about to be born. After the light surged, the large hall remained silent for a short blink of an eye before a sharp cry suddenly resounded over the place. Immediately, one could hear a rumbling sound appearing. Waves after waves of powerful dense Do Chi erupted within the large hall. Numerous figures became like locusts as they transformed into rays of light that rushed towards the light scrolls without due care of their lives. Faced with a blockage of many experts, those 10 rays of light appeared to possess their own intelligence. They were actually able to turn on their own while they flew, dodging those large hands that were rushing over. Human figures crossed each other from all directions in the midair. The sound of people exchanging blows continued to be emitted from the midair. Soon after, numerous figures fell after spitting out blood. Finally, they smashed heavily onto the large hall. The low and deep muffled sound caused the hearts of quite a number of people to jump. These fellows were all using lethal blows. Do not attack first. Xiao Yang's expression was also unusually grave as he watched this situation that was beyond control. He stopped Xi Yang, who was about to move, and spoke in a deep voice. Tang Shen by the side also nodded slightly. He halted the experts from the burning flame valley and stared intently at the many experts in the midair who were intercepting the rays of light that were shuttling all over the place. He softly said, "Young friend Xiao Yan, are you currently able to see which of the scroll is the Tien Class Do skill?" "No. These 10 scrolls are all extraordinary items. They can even be said to be the highest class Do skills or Chi method that I have seen during all these years. Someone had clearly did something to these scrolls. It is not easy to catch them with one's hands." Xiao Yang shook his head. From his senses, these 10 ray of lights all contained an extremely powerful unusual energy. This was something that he had never seen. It was likely that the class of these Do skills or Chi methods were quite high. According to Xiao Yang's guess, it was likely that amongst the Do skill that he had learnt, only the God Seal skill could compare with them. Clearly, the class of these Do skills will definitely not be weaker than the God Seal skill. It is indeed worthy of being the remains left by an elite Do Shen. Such powerful Do skills and Chi methods are things that even some powerful factions do not possess. However, they have appeared in such large numbers here. Xiao Yan's eyes swept all around the place amidst the chaos. He discovered some of the true experts, the Hall of Souls, Heaven Demon Phoenix Tribe and some other factions did not immediately act and snatch the scrolls. Clearly, all of them wanted to wait for these people to fight until all of them were injured before acting. "Ha ha, young friend Xiao Yan, we will act individually later on and see if we can obtain a scroll. Since we have come to this ancient remains, we must naturally not leave empty-handed, no?" Tang Zhen looked at the human figures that continuously spat out blood and fall onto the ground as he laughed. Xiao Yang smiled. The Chen class Do skill did indeed possess a great allure towards him. He would naturally not give up if he had the opportunity to obtain it. "I will act first in a while and see if I can snatch a scroll. All of you should not act. We cannot be greedy. Otherwise, we will only end up inviting fire and burn ourselves." Xiao Yang glanced at the chaotic large hall. Everyone had lost their reasoning amidst the 10 scrolls dancing in the air. Their eyes were red as they continued to give chase. Anyone who approached a scroll first would be surrounded almost immediately by the people behind. Do Chi spluttered out and the person who had obtained the scroll did not even have the time to emit a miserable cry before he was directly blasted into a cluster of dripping blood. Understood. Everyone nodded when they heard the low cry of Xiao Yang. If they obtained too many scrolls, they would definitely attract countless number of red eyes. At such a moment, no one would bother about the gap in strength. The allure of the Tien class Do skill was already sufficient to turn them crazy. Bang! Everyone's reply had just sounded when over a dozen figures in front were suddenly blasted into a cluster of bloody fog. A grey figure rushed out with lightning-like speed from within the blood fog. A long spear that was dripping with fresh blood pierced explosively towards Xiao Yang's group while being accompanied by an incomparably sharp wind. "Be careful. It is a human puppet." Little Fairy Doctor's expression changed slightly as she looked at the grey figure that had rushed over. Her body flashed and she appeared in front of Xiao Yang. After which, she directly rushed forward and blocked that human puppet. Vast and mighty Do Chi surged out from her body with a beautiful outline in all directions. During the time that Little Fairy Doctor had blocked this human puppet, Xiao Yang had taken the opportunity to quickly weigh the latter. Now that he was a short distance away, he was finally able to see that the surface of these puppets appeared to be covered by a layer of greyish-white mysterious cloth. This cloth was flickering with an unusually luster. On top of being soft, it also possessed quite a powerful defensive strength. Even a full-force attack by an elite Do zone would not be able to tear this kind of mysterious cloth. "Try and see if you can control these puppets." Tian Huazunja spoke in a deep voice. Xiao Yang swiftly nodded upon hearing this. While the human puppet was being pestered by Little Fairy Doctor, a spiritual strength swiftly surged out from between Xiao Yang's brows. After which, it entered the puppet's body with lightning-like speed. However, Xiao Yang was not as lucky as the last time. He could sense an incomparably powerful seal located at the spot in the puppet where the seal was planted. This kind of seal was definitely personally left behind by that elite Do Shen. Therefore, it had enabled these human puppets to still carry out the order he had placed meticulously even after countless number of years. Tian Huazunja and the rest were a little disappointed, but they came to an understanding after thinking about it. These human puppets were the last defense of the elite Do Shen. It would be too incredulous if they were so easily controlled. We should also prepare to act. I will be responsible to snatch the scroll. All of you should help me block the other experts. Xiao Yang glanced at Little Fairy Doctor's situation. That human puppet was quite troublesome. It was clearly very difficult to finish it off within a short period of time. Fortunately, Little Fairy Doctor was not in any danger. Hence, Xiao Yang had placed his attention towards the midair once again. At this moment, Fengqing, the Ice River Valley and the other factions were unable to wait any longer. All of them had joined in the snatching of the scrolls. Feng Huazunja and the rest nodded upon hearing this. The dou-qi within their bodies were circulated rapidly. They were aware that it was not an easy task to successfully obtain the scrolls in this chaotic situation. Xiao Yan's eyes swept over the midair before pausing on a red ray of light. The ray of light already had quite a number of blood traces over it. Based on Xiao Yan's guess, it was likely that over 10 experts had already died because of it. That will be the target. Xiao Yan muttered to himself in his heart. This scroll was completely bright red and there was a wild and violent aura spreading from it. It was likely that it was related to the fire affinity and was most suitable for Xiao Yan. Moreover, compared with the other scrolls, there were fewer experts after it. The level of difficulty in snatching it would correspondingly be reduced. Xiao Yan's eyes shifted along with the flashing bright red ray of light. A moment later, this ray of light had finally appeared in the area around Xiao Yan's group after being blocked by many experts. Do it! A sharp cry was suddenly emitted from Xiao Yan's mouth when that ray of light entered the area around Xiao Yan's group. Xiao Yan's cry had just sounded when a purple-brown flame immediately surged out from his body. His feet stomped on the ground and the floor immediately cracked into powder. His body was just like an enormous fire dragon that forcefully charged towards the crowd that was intercepting the bright red scroll in the most brutal fashion. Xiao Yan's sudden intervention had also attracted the notice of many people. Immediately, the expressions of quite a number of people changed slightly. A chilling aura flickered in their eyes. They waved their sleeves. Fierce dou-qi pillars ruthlessly rushed towards Xiao Yan while being accompanied by a rushing wind sound. Given the strength of these people, they would usually not dare to attack Xiao Yan. However, at this moment, everyone had become crazy under the allure of the Tian class dou skill. No one would bother about the other person's status or strength. Hence, they did not hesitate when attacking. Humph! Xiao Yan let out a cold snort as he looked at the dozen over dou-qi pillars that had rushed over. He flicked his finger and 5 purple-brown fire pillars hurriedly shot out from the surface of his body. After which, it collided heavily with the few pillars and destroyed all of them easily. The remaining fire pillars violently exploded on their bodies amidst the shocked eyes of those few who had attacked. The frightening temperature caused them to turn into a couple of fireballs. Xiao Yan's merciless attack caused some of the experts who were preparing to attack to have a change in their expressions. They woke up a little. Immediately, they could only clench their teeth and gradually suppress the attack brewing within their palms. With the help of the temporarily deterrent created from this forcefully attack, the fire dragon that Xiao Yan had transformed into brutally charged directly into the crowd. His body flashed and he rushed towards the bright red scroll. Xiao Yan's action also caused the only elite Dozun present in this circle to have a sunken expression. He had been chasing after this bright red scroll since the beginning. Being the strongest in this group, the chance of him successfully obtaining it was quite high. Currently, this sudden intervention of Xiao Yan had also stirred a dense killing desire within his heart. His eyes flickered as he clenched his hand. An enormous axe appeared in it. A low and deep cry was being emitted from this expert, whose strength was also around that of a 1-star Dozun. Immediately, deep yellow dou-qi surged out of his body in all directions. The muscles on his body also wiggled strangely at this moment. A terrifying strength gathered with a lightning-like speed. All of you should get lost for this venerable self. This Dozun had a dark and dense expression. His body flashed and he appeared above Xiao Yan's hand. That enormous axe in his hand carried a frightening strength that could cut through the heavens and earth as it tore through the air and viciously hacked towards Xiao Yan's head. Get lost? You think you are worthy? The frightening energy that had suddenly covered 100 feet radius around Xiao Yan had naturally attracted his notice. A cold smile appeared on his face. He clenched his fist and the heavy Xian ruler appeared. Purple-brown flame rushed out within lightning-like speed and transformed into a meandering fire dragon on the ruler's body. Xiao Yan flipped his hand after his ruler directly forced a 1-star Dozun back. He once again kept this heavy Xian ruler into his storage ring. He clenched his hand slightly and felt a faint numb feeling. His heart involuntarily felt a little surprised at the strength of this 1-star Dozun. He had consumed many natural treasures during these years. Hence, it had resulted in his physical body becoming unusually strong. Although he could not be compared to Zi Yang, it was a little difficult to find an expert of the same level who possessed a strength similar to his. Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly turned towards the location of the bright red scroll after having forced back this tiger that had blocked his path. This thing was extremely agile. It still fled in an extremely happy manner despite the combined effort of so many experts. There was not a single person who could touch it even until now. Instead, some people, who were too close to it, ended up being seriously injured by the combined effort of the other experts. Xiao Yan's foot suddenly stomped on the empty air when he saw this scene. He once again turned into a purple-brown fire dragon that rushed towards the scroll. Those people blocking him along the way were directly sent flying by him. Under this brutal act of his, he had already charged into the closest spot to the scroll within the blink of an eye. "Brat, you are seeking death." Those surrounding experts with blood-red eyes immediately emitted a furious cry in unison when they saw Xiao Yan charge into a 20 feet distance from the bright red scroll. Powerful Do Chi erupted. Immediately, they blasted towards Xiao Yan from all directions. The momentum from the combined attack by nearly 100 experts was extremely spectacular. With such a large-scale Do Chi smashing over, even Xiao Yan's expression ended up changing slightly. However, he did not turn his body immediately. He once again took a step forward. His large hand gently grabbed towards the bright red scroll that was flying around. Do Chi from all over the place arrived in an instant. Just when these attacks were about to land on Xiao Yan's body, the space around the latter fluctuated slightly. Qian Huazunzhe, Ziyang, Qinglin, and the rest swiftly appeared. With their combined effort, a think energy shield was immediately formed. Bang bang bang. An endless amount of Do Chi violently smashed onto the light shield, causing the latter to continuously erupt into waves of ripples. However, it ultimately managed to endure and did not burst apart. Under the combined effort of the few of them, they had forcefully endured the joint attack by many experts. Taking the opportunity of their blocking, Xiao Yan's large hand finally landed on the bright red scroll. Xiao Yan raised his eyes rapidly when he heard this somewhat familiar cold laughter. He discovered that the one who had interfered was actually the chief of the profound Xian sect, Chen Qiannan. Chen Qiannan revealed a dark and cold smile when he saw Xiao Yan looking over. His fight hand swiftly tightened and he violently threw a punch towards Xiao Yan's head without any fancy action. Looking at his stance, it was obvious that he was planning on blasting apart Xiao Yan's head with a punch. "You are seeking death." A chilling glint flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes when he saw this ruthless tactic of Chen Qiannan. A golden light immediately appeared in front of him in a ghost-like manner. Chen Qiannan's fist landed heavily on the latter's body while being accompanied by a clear metallic sound. "Puppet?" Chen Qiannan's expression changed a little as he looked at the dark golden-colored sky demon puppet that had appeared in front of him. He hurriedly withdrew his punch. However, the sky demon puppet that followed closely behind also violently threw its frightening metallic fist towards his head. "Bastard!" Chen Qiannan had a drastic change in expression when he sensed the frightening strength on the fist of the sky demon puppet. He could only let out a furious curse. Immediately, he unwillingly released the scroll that he had grabbed onto tightly. His body pulled back explosively. Xiao Yan grabbed at the scroll violently after Chen Qiannan released it. Purple-brown flames surged out from his palm and firmly pressed onto the struggling scroll. A moment later, that bright red scroll's resistance finally weakened gradually. Xiao Yan heavily sighed in relief when the scroll symptom had completely disappeared. It was swiftly kept into his storage ring in front of the countless number of red eyes. At the same time, a vast and mighty aura surged out from his body without any restraint. Purple-brown flame lingered around his body. This power caused the blood-red eyes of the surrounding experts to gradually become calm. A moment later, he glanced at Qian Huazunzhe a short distance away. Finally, he could only turn his body around unwillingly and leave. He began to maximize the time left and snatch another scroll. Xiao Yan's expression relaxed a little when he saw these ravenous wolves-like fellows withdrawing after being deterred. He might not be afraid of the individual strength of these people. However, if 100 over of them were to charge together, even he would feel somewhat troublesome. "Old bastard, since you have already attacked, there is no need for you to return." Xiao Yan's expression suddenly became densely cold after having kept the scroll. His eyes turned towards Chen Qiannan, who appeared somewhat miserable under the attack of the sky demon puppet. A killing intent surged within his eyes. Xiao Yan already had a killing intent towards Chen Qiannan within his heart ever since the latter first led a large group of people to the pill tower to capture him. However, he was merely a 9-star dozone back then. It was quite difficult to kill this old fellow. Hence, he did not act. Now that they have met again, Xiao Yan had yet to act when this old fellow had attacked first. Moreover, looking at the vicious stance of the latter, it was clear that he really wanted to take Xiao Yan's life. Xiao Yan would naturally not show mercy to this kind of enemy, who possessed a desire to kill him. Although the profound Xian sect might not be very strong, the profound Sky sect behind them caused people to be a little afraid. No one could guarantee that this old fellow would find some great trouble for Xiao Yan due to his grudge against the latter. It was not Xiao Yan's character to leave a potential danger alone. Moreover, the situation in this place was currently chaotic. It was likely that news would not really spread if he killed this old fellow here. These thoughts flashed across Xiao Yan's heart. He looked at Chen Qiannan, who appeared quite miserable under the attack of the sky demon puppet. His face also became increasingly icy. Chen Qiannan's strength was around that of a 2-star dozun. On the other hand, with the fighting strength of the Sky Demon puppet, it would not be at a disadvantage even when facing an expert at the peak of the 3-star Dozon class. Hence, it was naturally able to firmly suppress the former in their fight. Bang! Xiao Yan violently collided head-on with the Sky Demon puppet in the midair. The frightening strength that was transmitted through his arm immediately caused him to take over a dozen staggering steps in the midair. Bloody chi rose within his body. A pale white expression surfaced on his face. The Sky Demon puppet did not feel any pain. It was like a killing machine when it fought. As long as Xiao Yan did not ask it to step, it would never stop. Xiao Yan would suffer quite a great disadvantage when they fight. After having fallen into a disadvantage despite the long fight, Xiao Yan already had the intention to withdraw within his heart. The reason he dared to snatch the scroll from Xiao Yan was because Xiao Yan was facing enemies from all directions. Not only did the experts from the Hall of Soul have an enmity with him, but even the gazes that the Heaven Demon Phoenix's group used to look at him were unfriendly. At this moment, Xiao Yan would naturally wish to add insult to injury, given his character. However, he did not expect that the current Xiao Yan was actually completely different from the one at the Pill Tower back then. That endless number of tactics had caused his heart to feel a little afraid. Looks like I can only withdraw first. Once the chaos of this place end, the Hall of Soul and the rest will definitely find trouble with this brat. At that time, I will secretly attack and kill this brat. At the same time, I will also snatch the scroll back. Xiao finally decided to cease fighting while this thought flashed across his heart. He raised his head and looked at the Sky Demon puppet, which had rushed over once again. His body hurriedly pulled back, intending to withdraw into the chaotic battleground. Humph, where are you going? However, Xiao had just stepped back when an icy-cold voice suddenly sounded from behind him. At the same instant, an extremely frightening hot wind also arrived. This sudden attack had also caused Xiaoyan's expression to change. He swiftly turned around instinctively as his palms, which were covered in do chi, were hurriedly thrown forward. The Sky Demon puppet waved its arm. Each time it was swung, it would bring about an ear-piercing sharp wind-splitting sound. Space collapsed and numerous dark black cracked lines appeared. Boom! Xiao quietly cried out bitterly when faced with this fierce attack by the Sky Demon puppet. His body continued to pull back. The strength of the Sky Demon puppet had basically suppressed him until he only had the ability to defend. If this continues, I will sooner or later be seriously injured in the hands of this puppet. Looks like I cannot be entangled any longer. Bastard brat. The old me will remember this debt. Sooner or later, the time will come for you to repay it. Xiao viciously cried out within his heart. His palm wind suddenly strengthened as he forcefully pushed aside the attack by the Sky Demon puppet. His toes pressed on the ground and his body flew backwards. Xiaoyan's heart had just sighed in relief as his body stood in the midair when a dangerous feeling suddenly spread out from deep within his heart. The goosebumps all over his body stood up at this moment. Sky-burying seal. A slight cold cry that carried some cold wind quietly resounded beside Xiaoyan's ear while Xiaoyan's heart was permeated with a sense of danger. This is bad. Xiaoyan's expression instantly became pale when he sensed the activity behind him. Xiaoyan's speed was so quick that it had exceeded his expectations. Bang! Do chi hurriedly surged within Xiaoyan's body as he reacted to the situation. Before he could completely form a defense behind him, a palm-sized purple-brown handprint gently landed on his back. A frightening force surged out like floodwaters. A sleek redness immediately surged up Xiaoyan's pale white face after he forcefully received this heavy blow. A mouthful of fresh blood was involuntarily spat out. His body also staggered and withdrew, knocking against a couple of experts as he did so. That force had also shaken these unlucky fellows until they vomited a couple mouthfuls of blood. Xiaoyan's body transformed into an arc that flew towards the distant. His face was covered with blood as he turned around with much difficulty. His eyes were vicious as he looked at the increasingly distant Xiao Yan. That vicious poisonous feeling caused one to have goosebumps. Little bastard, if I do not avenge this, I, Xiaoyan, will have been a sect leader in vain. In the future, I will definitely get you to regret your action today. Xiaoyan roared viciously within his heart. He was originally the type who would take revenge for any grudge. Xiao Yan had nearly killed him on the spot. This vengeance was sufficient to allow him to remember it for a lifetime. Bang! Numerous vicious thoughts flashed across Xiaoyan's heart. His body also landed heavily on the ground, rubbing and forming a deep gully. After which, he violently collided onto the hard pillar of the large hall. Immediately, he spat out another mouthful of fresh blood. Xiao Yan kept the Sky Demon puppet into his storage ring after having like Xiaoyan with lightning-like speed. Jianhua Zunsha, Little Fairy Doctor and the others also flashed over. Finally, the few of them once again gathered and cautiously watched the chaos within the large hall. What happened to that human puppet? Are you all right? Xiao Yan glanced at little fairy doctor and asked. I'm fine. I have lured the human puppet to another place. These things might possess the desire to kill, but they do not possess any intelligence. Little fairy doctor smiled sweetly as she replied. Xiao Yan nodded slightly. His eyes swept over the place. The Heaven Demon Phoenix Tribe and Wind Lightning Pavilion has each obtained a scroll. The Ice River Valley and the Burning Flame Valley has also gained something. Additionally, another 2 scrolls has landed into the hands of 2 experts, who are quite strong. Qian Huazunja softly spoke from the side. Xiao Yan was startled when he heard this. After which, he nodded once again. These factions had come prepared. Moreover, there were also some truly experts amongst those who had come alone. It was not too surprising for them to obtain the scrolls. What should we do now? There are only 3 scrolls remaining, which are being snatched by people. An unknown number of people has already died because of those 3 scrolls. Do we need to snatch another one? Little fairy doctor asked. If we snatch more of it, it will cause those who has yet to obtain any treasure to lose their sense of reasoning. Xiao Yang shook his head. He knitted his brows slightly and replied, moreover, the feeling that these 10 scrolls give me does not appear like a Qian class Do technique. You mean, these 10 scrolls are all fake? Little fairy doctor and the rest asked in shock. These scrolls are indeed Do techniques or Qi methods which are quite strong. However, they are likely not the Qian class Do technique. All of us are likely fooled. Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes and muttered. Little fairy doctor and the others also knitted their brows tightly when they heard these words. They rotated their eyes and suddenly said, those fellows from the Hall of Soul, what are they planning to do? Xiao Yang was startled. His eyes followed the sight of little fairy doctor only to see old ghost Shaixing and a couple of Hall of Soul expert was actually adopting an encircling formation as they slowly walked towards the Dosheng skeleton at the middle of the large hall. Their target is the Dosheng skeleton? Qian Huazunja commented in a deep voice. Should we intervene and stop these fellows? Zi Yang spoke with a desire to see some action. Xiao Yang's eyes were staring intently at the skeleton that was seated on the stone chair. His eyes suddenly shrunk a moment later. An instant earlier, he had seen the finger of that skeleton trembling slightly. This Dosheng skeleton is alive? A shock suddenly spread out from Xiao Yang's heart at this moment. The sudden drastic change in Xiao Yang's expression also attracted the notice of little fairy doctor's group. Everyone was startled as they carefully asked, what is it? Xiao Yan inhaled a deep breath of cold air. He looked at old ghost Shaixing and the others who are increasingly close to the stone chair. A bad feeling suddenly rose within his heart. An instant later, he suddenly grabbed Zi Yang and Qing Lin beside him and cried out in a deep voice, pull back quickly. This unusual action of Xiao Yang caused little fairy doctor and the rest to be at a loss. However, everyone trusted Xiao Yang's words. Hence, they might be uncertain of the reason for this action of his, but they still immediately turned around and hurriedly followed him. While Xiao Yang's group was hurrying back, old ghost Shaixing's group had also stepped into a 10-feet radius of the stone chair. Both of his eyes were fiery hot as he watched the seated skeleton. Dosheng. This level possessed an allure that even they could not resist. An elite Dosheng might be able to be called the top expert of this continent, but there was still too much of a gap to the true peak. Dozan and Dosheng was basically a great leap apart. The gap between the two was basically impossible to be made up by anything. Is this the bones of an elite Dosheng? Old ghost Shaixing's eyes were wild and hot as they stared at the jade-white skeleton. He involuntarily leaked his tongue. His feet took another 2 steps forward and his large hand directly grabbed towards the skeleton. When the hands of old ghost Shaixing were about to touch the skeleton, a slight wiggling had suddenly appeared in that space. Immediately, they appeared to have transformed into countless number of extremely sharp spatial thorns that ruthlessly pierced onto old ghost Shaixing's hand. The slight pain that was emitted from his hand caused old ghost Shaixing to be startled. He hurriedly withdrew his hand, only to discover that quite a lot of fresh blood had already flowed out from his hand. There were a couple of droplets amongst them that had gently dripped on the skeleton that was sitting down. An uneasy emotion quietly spread out from the heart of old ghost Shaixing as he looked at the fresh blood that landed on the jade-white skeleton. Shaixing Tianzuan, what is it? The couple of Hall of Soul experts, who had surrounded him, asked uncertainly. They were also startled when they saw old ghost Shaixing suddenly becoming stunned. Old ghost Shaixing appeared as though he did not hear their scream. His eyes firmly stared at the blood that dripped onto the skeleton. At this moment, these blood appeared like water that had touched cotton when they rolled onto the bones. It ended up quietly seeping into the bones. This Dosheng skeleton slowly raised its head when the blood glow appeared. An earth-shaking roar was suddenly emitted from his mouth at this moment in a thunder-like manner. The frightening roar had transformed into a substance-like sonic wave in an instant. It became like a storm as it spread apart in a lightning-like manner with the stone chair being at the center. Bang! The first that was implicated by the sonic storm was naturally the few experts from the Hall of Soul, who were a little slow to react. The sonic wave caught up with them in an instant. Immediately, their bodies appeared to be like sandbags that had been struck by a cannonball. They immediately burst apart and turned into a bloody fog that spread apart with a bang. Humph! That old ghost Xiaoyan had also yet to escape from the attacking range of the sonic wave. However, he was strong and he had reacted sufficiently quickly. Hence, he did not instantly burst into a bloody fog like the other unlucky fellows. However, that sonic wave that swept over still caused some blood to churn within his body. A low and deep muffled sound appeared in his throat. Clearly, he had also suffered some injuries. Even with the strength of old ghost Xiaoyan, he was unable to endure a sonic wave roar from this Dosheng skeleton. Hence, this sonic wave could be truly considered the scythe of a death god for most people belonging to the Hall of Soul. Quite a number of experts within the large hall were currently still chasing the 3 remaining scrolls. The sharp sonic wave spread with a lightning speed. The many figures in the mid-air suddenly stiffened. Immediately, a bang sounded and they blasted apart like a blood fog. In an instant, the entire large hall had been filled with a rich blood fog. This sudden bloody scene had also caused everyone to wake up from the allure of the Tien-class Do skill. Some shock swiftly surged up their faces. Do Chi surged out from their bodies without being held back as the many figures withdrew a great distance from the center of the large hall in a miserable manner, appearing like dogs, which had lost their homes. The old me is unaware of why that skeleton that had been dead for countless number of years will suddenly erupt. A couple of experts from our Hall of Soul are also dead. Old ghost Xiaoyan inhaled a deep breath of air and spoke in a deep voice with the intent of washing off his responsibility. There were many experts present. It was impossible for him to offend all of them with his strength alone. If it was not because your fresh blood had landed on the skeleton, how would it have awakened? Are you trying to shrink from your responsibility after things had become like this? Xiao Yan laughed coldly when he heard the explanation. The expression of old ghost Xiaoyan changed when he heard these words from Xiao Yan. However, upon sensing an increasing number of furious gazes from around him, he could only cup his hands together and said, "This matter is indeed because of the recklessness of the old me. However, the most important thing now is not to hold others accountable. If the old me guessed correctly, that Dosheng skeleton should be a thought left behind by that expert when he was alive. It is not difficult to deal with. As long as we join hands, we will definitely be able to suppress it. Just a thought alone is already so frightening. If another of that sonic wave earlier arrives, it was likely that not many people in this place can survive." Tang Zhen's expression was as deep as water. Quite a number of experts from the Burning Flame Valley had been killed by the sonic wave. If it was not because now was not the right moment, he would have been unable to control himself and attack old ghost Xiaoyan. Since we have already obtained the scroll, all of us should just leave. This things is too frightening, someone within the crowd softly said. His voice contained a horror that could not be hidden. That kind of strength was really too frightening. It is not possible to leave. This thought will definitely finish off everyone who has barged into the remains. Should we flee, it is likely that no one will be able to leave alive. Old ghost Xiaoyan spoke in a deep voice. Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes slightly. He felt that this old ghost seemed to really desire to finish off this Dosheng skeleton. However, given old ghost Xiaoyan's cautious character, he would definitely not risk his life like this for no reason. Old ghost Xiaoyan's words had also stirred some chaos. Some of the weaker individuals had an even richer horror on their faces. However, no one dared to turn around and flee. During the time when even was in a chaos, the interior of the large hall that was permeated by a blood fog suddenly emitted a slight sound of bone moving. This sound immediately silenced all the commotion. Numerous horrified eyes were staring at the middle of the large hall permeated by a blood fog. Horror spread in an increasingly serious manner at this moment. The skeleton thin body stood within the large hall. Its originally jade-white body had already turned scarlet. At a glance, it gave one a kind of extremely strong bloody feeling. 2 clusters of faint red glow flickered slightly within the skeleton's eyes. 2 scrolls were dancing in the midair above the head of the Dosheng skeleton. Some unknown lucky fellow had obtained 1 scroll during the chaos earlier. Hence, there were currently these 2 scrolls remaining that were without an owner. Of course, at this moment, there were hardly anyone who dared to snatch the meat from a tiger's mouth in the face of the deterrent by the Dosheng skeleton. The expressions of everyone in the hall once again changed slightly when that hoarse and old voice slowly sounded. From the looks of it, they would not be able to smoothly leave if they did not defeat this Dosheng skeleton. Everyone, there is no need to panic. The interior of this Dosheng skeleton only possesses a remnant spiritual imprint left by that expert when he was alive. It is not a genuine Dosheng. It is not impossible to defeat it. However, the precondition is that we must join hands. Otherwise, if it defeats us individually, there is a chance that all of us will perish. Old Ghost Xiaoxing spoke in a deep voice. Old Mr. Xiaoxing is right. However, since this skeleton was awakened by you, please be the first to attack. Xiao Yan smiled slightly and said, yes, this should indeed be the case. You must take a large part of the responsibility for this manner. If you wish for all of us to join hands in dealing with it, you must be the first to fight. Tang Zhen also nodded and agreed. Some other experts mused for a moment before nodding in agreement. They were already quite displeased with old Ghost Xiaoxing's reckless action. Being able to take this small revenge could relieve their anger. The shriveled face of old Ghost Xiaoxing involuntarily twitched upon seeing this. His eyes were vicious as they stared at Xiao Yan. This soft blade of the latter had directly pushed him to the most dangerous place. Moreover, from the looks of it, he was unable to pull back. All he could do was to harden his skin and step forward. Everyone is being reasonable. In that case, the old me shall be the first to attack. However, I will remind everyone that the fewer experts there are present, the more dangerous our situation will be. Regardless of whether we have any grudge in the past, we are all currently on the same boat. No one will have any good ending if this boat capsizes. Old Ghost Xiaoxing could only harden his skin in the face of the many gazes and spoke in a righteous manner. Old Mr. Xiaoxing, please be reassured that we will not just watch you die in the hands of this Dosheng skeleton. Xiao Yan smilingly said. Those words that he had uttered, however, caused a green color to appear on old Ghost Xiaoxing's face. All right, let's not talk any nonsense. You should be quick if you wish to attack. This Dosheng skeleton seemed to be absorbing the strength within the blood fog to replenish itself. That black-robed elder from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe suddenly had a sunken expression as he coldly cried out. Everyone was startled when they heard these words of his. Their gazes looked over and did indeed see that the blood-red color on the body of the Dosheng skeleton becoming increasingly dark. The surrounding black fog was also swiftly flowing into his body. Old Mr. Xiaoxing, it is time to attack. Xiao Yan cried out in a deep voice. The corner of old Ghost Xiaoxing's eyes twitched. He endured the impulse he had to kill Xiao Yan with a slap as he clenched his teeth and said, the old me knows this. There is no need for you to say anything more. Old Ghost Xiaoxing understood that there was no time for him to continue delaying after his voice sounded. His body moved and it transformed into a blurry black figure that rushed towards the blood skeleton that was at the middle of the hall. Vast and mighty Do Qi surged out from the body of old Ghost Xiaoxing like a volcano in all directions. This aura caused the blood fog that permeated within the large hall to become a little thinner. However, this old Ghost Xiaoxing was also a vicious character. His mission this time around was to bring this Dosheng skeleton back. Therefore, he did not dare to be lazy. After stabilizing his body, he moved once again. His body shot outwards and once again became entangled with the Dosheng skeleton. A big battle erupted. Xiao Yan and the rest watched the big battle. They were involuntarily a little speechless. This Dosheng skeleton was indeed very powerful. Even an expert like old Ghost Xiaoxing was being suppressed until he continued to be defeated despite using his full strength. This is merely just a remnant spiritual imprint. Just how frightening will it be if it is a completely elite Dosheng? This thought flashed across the hearts of quite a number of people at this moment. Clearly, the fighting strength of this skeleton had caused them to be a little shocked. While everyone were exclaiming, a couple of rushing wind sound was suddenly emitted from the large hall that was covered by a blood fog. A couple of figures charged out from the blood fog with lightning-like speed. After which, they fiercely attacked old Ghost Xiaoxing. Everyone glanced over and found that they were actually the human puppets that had yet to be completely finished off earlier. After the intense big battle earlier, those human puppets had killed quite a number of experts. However, there were a couple of them that had been shattered into dust by the combined attacks of many experts. However, there were still 6 of them that remained. The expression of old Ghost Xiaoxing changed immediately when these 6 appeared together. He was already at a disadvantage. If these human puppets were to join the matter, he would end up dying in this place within less than 10 exchanges. Bastard, why are all of you still watching the show? Quickly attack! Old Ghost Xiaoxing roared furiously. His body rushed backwards after he stomped on the ground with his foot. Valley Chief Tang Zhen, Valley Chief Bing He and this young friend Xiao Yan. The 4 of us will attack together and aid old Ghost Xiaoxing in finishing of this Dosheng skeleton, what do you say? That black-robed old man from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was aware that they can no longer simply watch the show after hearing the furious cry of old Ghost Xiaoxing immediately. His eyes turned towards Tang Zhen and Bing He. Their strength had reached the level of a 5-star and 4-star Dozuns respectively. However, the thing that surprised everyone was that he had actually called Xiao Yan, who was merely a 1-star Dozun, when he opened his mouth. Be careful. Little fairy doctor whispered. Yes, all of you should also pay more attention. If the situation is not right, you should all leave first. There is no need to bother about me. I will be fine. Xiao Yan nodded. His eyes exchanged looks with Tang Shen and the others before the four of them rushed out at the same time. They became like large birds that hurried into the large hall. After which, they and old ghost Zhaixing encircled around the Dosheng skeleton. Xiao Yan's group had just begun to attack when the other experts within the large hall also got into action.